All around the world, there are tons of different types of insects, from the small but deadly mosquito to the adorable ladybug to the not so adorable tarantula. But but there are some insects that you are not allowed to touch, let alone be near. Because being near insects and touching these will have some serious consequences, just like as if you were in a cage with mosquitoes. Living in Florida does have its ups and downs. Good news is that this red-widowed spider live in certain parts of Florida. Bad news is that its venom is a neurotoxin and can potentially cause permanent muscle spasms. And, well, it's best not to be near this red widow spider because it could be just like the black widow spider. Found mostly in the eastern United States, these caterpillars are as strange as they are dangerous. These caterpillars tend to embed their long spines into their victims, leaving direct tissue damage and him. I don't know how you pronounce this word, so I'll leave the word down below. And but in humans it only has mild to moderate pain, but it's more painful than the sting of a wasp or a bee. Part of the assassin bug family, wheel bugs will only attack large insects unless you tend to pick it up and poke and prod at it. But if you do that, expect to be bitten by one. Will the wheel bugs aren't afraid to bite, and even though their bite isn't fatal, the bite can be intensely and very immediately painful. So it's best to avoid these bugs at all costs. The Asian lady beetles have a tendency to bite, and even though their bites aren't life threatening, they could activate or trigger an allergic reaction. They were introduced into the United States in 1988 to slash the aphid populations, but now they are a threat to the vegetation that house the aphids, have you want to say it? And I think it's kind of hard getting rid of them now. These things might look scary, but they're not that scary unless you want to be stung by a pair of lobes equipped with savage sting hairs. The sting on hay moths can range from mild itching to severe pain, swelling, blistering, dermatitis, and even intestinal problems. So if you see one, just don't touch it and leave it be unless you plan on getting stung by one. While perceived to be deadly to its prey, wolf spiders won't do much damage to humans. It will inject venom into its pursuer if it feels as though it is continuously provoked. And it's best not to provoke this thing because you're more likely to experience symptoms like swelling, itching, and a bit of a mild pain. So it's best not to provoke the wolf spider unless you want to experience those symptoms. I remember when I was younger, I used to get bitten by these things every time I stomped into a fire ant pile. Um, there are about 285 different kinds of fire ants, and they usually attack in a group to 10, from 10 to hundreds of them at one time. The venom of fire ants can cause several skin problems and a really bad allergic reaction, which I'm surprised that I hadn't gotten an allergic reaction because I used to get bitten by these things every time I stepped into one. In 1975, German yellow jackets were accidentally introduced into the United States. The German yellow jackets will build their nest just about anywhere. So it's best to look out for them. And they're not actually afraid to sting you repeatedly. So when you get home, you look like you just got into a fight with Dracula himself. To prevent a painful sting, avoid leaving out food and keep your windows and doorways protected. Even though I hate these things, when I was younger, I used to kill cockroaches for my mom and anybody else I was around that was scared of these things. Even though we see them as a threat to our groceries, they also bite, which I never knew they could do. Since cockroaches will eat just about anything, including human flesh. Areas will include the feet, the hands, your fingernails, and your eyelashes. So it's best to just kill them the moment you see them. Only found out about these a couple years ago, and these are not the some of the adorable caterpillars you can catch, because these, if you see one, do not touch it, because the hairs on it are actually toxic spines, and they can stick to you and spur a painful reaction. And according to entomologist Don Hall, this sting from the hairs of these things feels like a bee sting, only worse, and can actually make your bones hurt.